All right, happy people. 9.5, finding unknown angle measures. Okay, so this is kind of fun too. I like this chapter. I like geometry. I think this one's fun. Anyway, all right. So some of this I think you guys will remember from last year if you had me. If not, some of this is new. Okay, so we're actually going to do this exploration. I don't always like them, but I do like this one. Okay, but you need to know some words. Okay, so work with a partner. So we're not going to work with a partner. We're going to work with each other. The diagram shows a pair of adjacent angles and vertical angles. Vertical angles cannot be adjacent. So what do these words even mean? Have you ever heard of the adjacent apartment or the adjacent building? It just means next to. So adjacent means the one next to, okay? So Y is next to Z, right? See how these are next to each other? Whereas these are across from each other, right? These are next to each other, so they're adjacent, right? Whereas these are across from each other. These are adjacent because they're right next to each other. In other words, they share a wall, if you think about it. They share a whole wall. Is a way of looking at it, right? So vertical angles, another word for vertical angles, and I don't know why they don't just use this word because it makes more sense to me, is opposite angles. Like that is a mathematical term for vertical angles, is opposite angles. So what that basically means is that 155 is opposite Y. Okay, so Z is adjacent, it shares a wall, right? And Y is across the hallway. That's the way I always think of it, right? So these are adjacent. Actually, that could be across the hallway too, so maybe not. Anyway, the ones completely opposite one another are the vertical angles. So this one's directly across. This thing's called the vertex, so let's just label that. That's important, okay? This is the vertex of our angles. We'll get into that. Okay. So this angle Z, another fun little thing to think about is that would be angle C. A way of writing it would be CAD. Okay. Or DAC. But the A has to go in the middle because it is the vertex. Okay, so the vertex needs to go in the middle. So therefore BAE or EAB, right? But the A had to go in the middle because it's the vertex, all right? So that's just a little too much stuff. Okay, so without using a protractor, find the values of X, Y, and Z and explain your reasoning. Okay, so let's see if you guys remember. Let's erase this. Okay, so let's see. So if this is a straight line, let's see how good I can do. That's not bad. I like it. Okay, so if that's a straight line, does everyone agree that that is a line? Yes. Okay. So does anybody remember how many degrees around from there to there? What is the degrees of all of it? If you've forgotten, it's 180, okay? And therefore, what's the degrees on the other side of that same line? It's also 180. 180 plus 180 is 360 degrees, is a full circle. Okay, a full circle, which is why they call it a 360 dunk for all you basketball fans, okay? Also on a clock, right? 12, to go from 12 all the way around back to 12 is 360 degrees, okay? All right, so that's fun. Oh yeah, so what are the values of some of these things, okay? So if the value of something is... let's go ahead and put our line back here. I won't draw it as good. Okay, so if this whole thing is 180, right, and we know that this is 155, well then what is this little guy? Well, it's just 180 minus 155, right? Cool. Also... let's look at D. Make a conjecture, which make an opinion, about the measures of any two vertical angles. So what are vertical angles? Okay, so we're done with that. We'll come back to it. So if this is a vertical angle to this, and this is a vertical angle to this, pause the video, see if you can make a conjecture or an opinion or a theory about what is interesting about them. And the answer is vertical angles... Okay, so you have what makes it vertical is these two lines intersect. So these two that are opposite each other and these two that are opposite each other, look at this. Boom. See how that circle fits right there? That circle fits right there. They're equal. So y is 155. Fun stuff. All right, so we're going to go back to so we're going to move on. So this is all the stuff we just talked about, except for that we have some new words. Okay, so we talked about adjacent, which means right next to. We talked about vertical angles, which means opposite angles. Okay, don't worry about all those words. You can read them if you like. Complementary means that they measure 90. Supplementary means they measure 80. Okay, so what does that mean? I'll show you what that means. Okay, so if you have a right angle, which hopefully you guys all remember that a right angle is 90 degrees, and I have two angles here, okay? So let's mathematically do this right. We're going to zoom in. Then that means that angle A and angle B equal 90 degrees. So what does that mean? So the mathematical way to write that is that the sum of angle A and angle B is equal to 90 degrees. Okay? Now, supplementary. Okay, on supplementary, we have a whole 180 degree line. Okay, so that's my 180. It's a straight line, straight angle. And then let's just say I have a angle coming off here. I made that almost too narrow here. Then that means that angle A and angle B, okay, that means the sum of angle A plus the sum of angle B equals 180 degrees. Okay, so what's the difference? How do you remember which one's complementary and which one's supplementary? Okay, so here's how I do it. C comes before S in the alphabet, right? And 90 comes before 180 on a number line. That's how I remember it. So complementary is 90, supplementary 180. All right, and those are the things. Okay, so if you were going to screenshot, I would screenshot right now because I've got my other little parts. Okay, moving on. All right, so all the things. All right, so let's just talk about these things. All right, so naming angles. Name a pair. Let's see what it says. Name a pair of adjacent angles, complementary angles, supplementary angles, and vertical angles in the figure. So they want us to basically identify what we saw. Okay, so let's do that. So let's actually follow along. I left the words on here for a reason because I want you to get used to looking at these properly. So angle ABC, ABC, and ABF, ABF. So ABC, ABF share a common side and have the same vertex B, so they are adjacent. Okay, so there you go. There's your adjacent. So this and this are adjacent. Okay. E, start at the first one. EBC is a right angle. That's why it's red. That's why it's got the red right angle mark. So EBC is the right angle. This means that the sum of the measures of EBD and CBD, so in other words, this angle and this angle, add up to 90, therefore they are complementary. ABC and DBC, they are, so ABC and DBC, so this is a straight line. That means that this angle and this angle put together, so this angle and this angle put together are supplementary, right? Okay, so ABF and CBD, so this angle here and this angle here are opposite angles, so they're called vertical. So basically we have a so this line and this line intersect, and therefore this and this are opposite angles. Those can be a little tricky sometimes. All right, we definitely don't have time to look at that one. Okay, we have a lot more to do here. Okay, using pairs of angles. Okay, so these are going to be really easy for you guys, I think. Okay, so classify each pair of angles, then find x. Simple, right? Okay, so these are opposite of each other. They are vertical angles. So vertical. So first of all, we're classifying vertical angles. Vertical. Wow, that's not how you spell vertical. Vertical angles. And therefore, x equals 70. Done. Okay, these share a right angle, so they're complementary. I hope that's how you spell that. Otherwise, I'm going to be on the spelling flashcard kick here. Therefore, x plus 4 plus 31 equals 90. Right? Therefore, this plus this equals 90. That's what complementary means. And now I'm going to solve for x. So x plus 35, because I took the 31 and the 4 and put them and added them together. And then I'm going to subtract 35 from both sides. And I'm left with 90 minus 35, which is 55. Yeah, 55. So x is 55. And it wants me to find the value of x. It's important to check out what they want to know. But if x is 55, 55 plus 4 is equal to 59. So this angle measure, which is a much more useful it is much more useful information to know 59, but x is 55. All right, so now this one down here is complementary angles. Pretty sure that's how you spell it. Complementary angles, which means that x plus x minus 4 is equal to 180. And now we solve for x. So we're adding with a binomial, so you can just basically get rid of the parentheses. So that would be x plus x minus 4 is equal to 180, right? Okay. Remember, if this was subtract, I'm just going to go ahead and point this out. If this was subtract, I'd have to change these two signs, but because it's add, I do not, right? I don't have, that stayed positive, that stayed negative. It's important. Okay, so anyway, x plus x is 2x. Minus 4 is equal to 180. Add 4 to both sides. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Add 4 to both sides. Therefore, I'm left with 2x on the left and 184 on the right. Okay, and if, for those of you who like some of you love the line, so there's your line. I'm running out of room, looks like. Okay, divide both sides by 2. Those go away. And therefore, x is equal to 184 divided by 2, which would be 92. Right? 92. Yep. 92. So if x is 92, that means that this is 92, and this is 92 minus 4, or 88. 88 plus 92 is 180. Check it. So that's what we expect, because that's 180, right? Okay. This one looks fun. Okay, so find the measure of EAB. So I want to know this. All right. Okay, so this looks fun. Huh. Okay. So what do I know? I know that this, here, let me get my eraser. I know that this and this added together are 180. I do know that. I know that this plus this are 90. Okay. Nothing is an opposite angle to that. In fact, if I find this out, that doesn't necessarily help me. Oh, but what's the one thing I also know about this whole thing is that this whole thing is 360, right? So, if I can figure out this angle, I know that this is 90 because of this, right? So I know that this is 90. So if I can figure out what 8x plus 12 is, and then I can add 90 to that, then I can take 360 and subtract those two things. Okay, so that's what I need to do. Rewind it. Sorry, I had to think through that one for a second. Okay, so we need to figure out what 8x plus 12 is. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to set it equal here. So 8x plus 12 plus 4x. Okay. And we can put our parentheses. Okay, is equal to 180, right? Because here's my straight line. Therefore, this plus this is they're supplementary. Okay, so let's solve. We end up with 12x plus 12 equals 180. I just removed the parentheses and added 8x plus 4x. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 12. I can tell I'm going to run out of time here, so I'm kind of going quickly here on the solving. So that would be, what, 168. Divide both sides by 12, and x equals 14. I did that on my calculator. For the record, I didn't know that in my head. X equals 14. So therefore, 8 times 14, all I'm doing is putting in 14 right there. 8 times 14 plus 12 equals 124. So this angle right here equals 124. Okay. So 4x, so I could either do 4 times 14 is 56, or I could have done 180 minus that. So this right here, or actually it doesn't matter, because this, it doesn't matter what 4x is, but just so you know, it's 56. This part of my circle that I'm building is 90. Right? So I have 120, let's do it in colors. This is going to be a long video, I'm sorry. 124 plus 90, oh, there it goes, lost my color. Apparently my colors are very important to me. Plus 90, right, which is this whole thing to here. Okay, so I've taken care of all this. Is 124 plus 90 would be 214. So 214, right? And then I just take 360 minus that, right? Because that is this thing that I'm trying to figure out. Finally, this is like the longest problem ever. I'm trying to figure out EAB. So that is 360 minus 214, which is 146. The end. Woo! I like them. I do. I like these problems. They make me think, and I like to think. And I said that in the last video, but I do. That's pretty cool. I feel good. Like, that's one of those ones where you're like, boom! You hit check, and you're like, yes! I hope that's right. Unless I did something really weird wrong. That should be right. Okay, last one. So this is like figuring out modeling real life. We have to do these, right? A city worker designs an intersections of 3 roads that will be constructed next year. The measure of the angle between any 2 roads must be at least 60. At least. What does at least mean? It means greater than or equal to, right? So it must be greater than or equal to 60. Okay? So it can't be less than that. If it's 59, no good. Okay, does the design meet the requirement? Well, that's a really broad question. Does the design meet the... Okay, so this one's good. Whoops. So this one's good. We need to figure out what X is, because we know if this one's good, this one's good. So let's do little check marks. This one's good. This one's good. We need to figure out what x is. So the way we do that is okay, so that means that this is 60, right? Because these are vertical angles. This and this are vertical angles. That's why we knew that it was okay. So if that's 60, therefore, okay, is this really what they want me to do? Okay, so probably after the last problem, 9x plus 60 degrees plus 6x plus 15 equals 180. I don't know if this is what they want me to do or not, but this will work. Okay, combine like terms. There was a reason I made you guys learn how to combine like terms. Proof positive right here. So we're going to combine those, and we're going to combine these, right? And we're going to end up with 15x plus 75 is equal to 180, and we're going to solve for x. Well, let's draw our line. I know some of you line people are going crazy because I didn't. Okay. Okay, so those cancel, leaving me with 15x on the left is equal to 105 on the right. Divide both sides by 15. Leaving me with x is equal to 105 divided by 15. I feel like it's 7. So x is 7. All right, back to life. All right, so therefore, if x is 7, then that means that this is, well, 6 times 7 is 42 plus 15. I'm hurrying, guys. We can't do all these. 57. So that's this angle here. We know that this one's 60. We know that this one right here is 9 times 7, 63. But before we go anywhere else, no. That is not greater than or equal to 60, so no. All right, that's it. That's all I got, guys. That was rough. I think that's all I've got. Yeah. All right. If you guys have problems with these are fun, though. Enjoy these next two. I think this week will be fun math, all right? I see some of you guys texting and stuff. You're bored. This is fun. Enjoy it. All right, guys.